Welcome to Reddit After Hours. This is r/RelationshipAdvice, where OP's friend sends him a link of his girlfriend in an adult video and is now questioning their entire relationship. Our first Reddit post comes from Throwa Sunflower Buff, titled, "My wife returned from a work retreat with a hickey. She swears that it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I'm at a loss. How do I move forward? I'm in a fight with my wife. We've had fights before, but not this bad. I'm at a loss on how to proceed. For context, we're college sweethearts and we've been married for almost 6 years. We have a daughter who's 4 years old. Our relationship was never perfect or without its challenges. We faced some family opposition with cultural differences, but we've always made it work. She's my first love and my best friend. My wife works in corporate. Her job has an annual work retreat that lasts about a week. This year, it was in Vegas. I usually arrange my work schedule and I tag along with her and we make our own little trip out of it. We couldn't do it this year as our daughter gets major anxiety while traveling long distances. We're working on it, but she wasn't budging, and we decided to choose our battles this year. So I stood behind and held down the fort at home. The change of plans was a bummer because the trip was part of us reconnecting as both a couple and as a family. My wife's work hours have taken a toll on us, and her work/life balance leaves much to be desired. We entertain the idea of her skipping the retreat. Attendance is optional, but is generally frowned upon if you don't go, and my wife's making connections in her field. While on the trip, she grew increasingly weird. We have a system if either of us is away for extended periods, and we keep in contact. For the first day or so, she was herself, but she grew distant. I'd even text her about important stuff and be left on read while she claimed that she never saw my text. Whenever we talked, she was rushing me or my daughter off the phone. These were all times that she wasn't involved in retreat activities. We were supposed to have a mini birthday celebration for our daughter over FaceTime. Our daughter was super excited. It was something that my wife promised her because the retreat overlapped with her actual birthday. But my wife backed out because she had people up to her room after a seminar. It was like she was asking my permission to break her promise to our daughter. I told her that I wasn't offering her that, nor making her keep her word. She said that I wasn't being fair to her and this was a networking opportunity. They were business-oriented and wouldn't understand her stepping away for family time. I said her decision is her decision, but she'd have to explain it to our daughter. She promised that she'd rain check the following day. Our daughter didn't understand and cried. My wife ended up hanging up and leaving me to comfort our daughter alone. The whole incident just rubbed me the wrong way. I really didn't like it. She didn't keep her word for the rain check the next day either. She was documenting the retreat on social media. One coworker, who's 23, was almost in every single pic/video attached to her hip. In one pic, he had his arm around her almost too comfortably, in my opinion. He's a recent hire in my wife's department. She was asked to oversee him. I don't like the guy. He doesn't know boundaries. Once, in response to a work assignment, he texted my wife that he's excited and that she's exactly the kind of woman that he needs to keep him in check. My wife brushed it off. She feels bad for him because he's not fitting in. She took him under her wing during his first retreat with the team. If I had questioned anything, she'd say that she was tired or networking. There was always something though, but I've seen her at these retreats. This wasn't like her. She was just off. The day before her return home, she complained about a bruise on her neck. She stressed that it was a bug bite. I didn't actually see the bruise until she came home, but I instantly thought that it was a full-on hickey. She kind of brushed it off after making a big deal of it over the phone. I didn't push because our daughter was present. But when I was finally able to confront her, she clung to her bug bite claim. When I kept pushing, she asked what I was trying to imply. I outright said that I believed that she had a hickey. I didn't believe that she was being honest with me, and we had it out then. She was offended and pissed at the accusation. Infidelity has always been a sore topic. Her family has a history of infidelity, actually. So we had a pretty bad fight, and she accused me of looking to pick a fight due to the incident with our daughter's birthday. I told her that it didn't have anything to do with that, and everything to do with the hickey on her neck. The fight ended at an impasse, and we're still not recovered. She swears that it's a bug bite, but I'm not convinced. I've always trusted my wife, and I've never doubted her, but this bruise doesn't look like a bug bite. It looks like a hickey. I only feel more strongly when I consider how distant and weird she was during this Vegas retreat. Now she's wearing turtlenecks ever since, and we're caught between arguing and her dousing our daughter and me with affection. Communication usually prevails for us, but not now. I think my accusation pushed us to a new level of argument. I'm at a loss here. I really need some outside perspectives. How do I move forward? OP, I never seen a bug bite that looks like a hickey. And also, what are the chances that she were to get said bug bite on a place that just happens to be where people usually get a hickey on? I don't know, OP. I'm not buying it. Maybe I'm just reading a little too much Reddit, but I think it's pretty clear what's going on here. If you think that there's a path forward, you may want to try couples counseling, but I think we both know what's going on here. Our next Reddit post comes from Thora SPTM, titled, I just found out my husband has been having an effed up affair. Dynamic, whatever it is, it's cheating with the mom of our child's best friend. How do I stay calm before going nuclear? We moved here to be close to a good school for our child. We're in a nice estate with the school being a few-minute walk away. Our daughter is 5, and mostly my husband does the school runs and clubs. My work makes this hard for me to do so. He works from home 100% of the time. Our daughter's best friend also stays along the same road, so in the morning and afternoon, they walk together. They also do a few clubs together. We sometimes meet up at soft plays at weekends, so both my husband and I both have the mother's number. She's very pretty, and I initially thought that she was quite intimidating, but me and her actually get along really well, and we text often. I thought that I had found a genuine friend in her. My husband texts her frequently as well, but has never given me a reason to snoop. She's also married, but her husband is in the army and is gone for very long periods of time. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've actually seen him home in almost the 3 years that we've lived here. Just the beginning of this week, the doorbell app went off as I know my husband's home and I never really look at the notifications. But I accidentally opened the app instead of swiping the notification away. The app opened and I see him and her leaving our house, which I thought was odd. The next day, I paid more attention to this and noticed about 30 minutes before school is due to finish, she just walks up and opens our door. I called him just saying that I was bored and what he was up to. He said he was just trying to quickly finish work so he can do the school run. I had a horrible feeling from here. That night, I plugged in this little camera that we had for the dog when he was a puppy that you can pan across a room. Yesterday, like clockwork, she appears again, just walks right in. I quickly open the camera app and see this woman forcibly push him onto the stairs, stand on the stair above him, pull her trousers down, and literally rub her butt up and down his face. And I wish I was kidding. He clearly wasn't fully forced to do this. He was definitely enthusiastic about the entire thing, but she very much took charge. This was literally all that happened. I went to my car to watch, and for a solid 20-25 minutes, all she did was make him lick her butt. Then they composed themselves and left for school like nothing happened. I've never broke down like that in my entire life. When I got home, I told him that I was feeling ill and just going to bed. I skipped dinner, just laying in bed, going through every emotion. He eventually came to bed, and I waited until he was asleep, grabbed his phone, and spent hours going through it. The upshot is there's some sort of dom/sub dynamic going on here, and it's literally just what I saw them doing. There's never been any actual passionate hugging, and he's not allowed to touch her anywhere else, strictly just her butt. It's been happening most days at least once for months. She texts him telling him she's on her way and he better be ready. I have, however, seen texts from her saying that he will get to screw her, but that's what he's working towards. What the actual hell? How on earth do you start something like that so quickly with someone who's been getting increasingly involved in our lives through our kids, no less? My mind is blown. I'm so hurt, angry, embarrassed, disgusted with him and her. Like, what do I do from here? I can't stay with him, but now I need to move away from this area and uproot everything and move schools just because these two want to live some weird fantasy. I've just watched her turn up to the house again today, and I started to watch the camera in the house, but I had to turn it off. I'm just so freaking angry. I'm going home to do the same thing that I did yesterday, and I plan on going nuclear on him tomorrow night or Saturday. That way, there's time to plan something for school on Monday at least. My mind just now is saying that we're done. There's no coming back from this. But what steps can I take to ensure that I come out better off in this situation? I have a few photos of messages and plans to take lots more tonight. I'm trying to work out how to leave the camera recording tomorrow, but I'm clueless. I don't even know if it has that function. We're in the UK, so if anyone knows the best steps that I can take from here, I would greatly appreciate the advice. OP, I really think your best bet is to collect as much evidence as you can without him knowing and get a lawyer without him knowing and present all of this to him in divorce papers before he has a chance to figure out what you're doing. I'm in the US, not the UK, but if you were here, that would probably be the best route for you. I'm sorry you have to go through this, OP. That is probably one of the craziest cheating stories I've heard in a while. Our next Reddit post comes from OK Manufacturer 5525, titled, I knew that my girlfriend had made adult videos with another couple before we started dating, but now that one of my friends has come across it and sent it to me, I'm mortified. So I found out that my girlfriend had made adult videos with another couple that paid her for it before we started dating, and conceptually and intellectually and morally, I never had an issue with it. I never really thought that I would have to be confronted with it in real life. My girlfriend and I are both very sexually open people and even started our relationship as open. That very quickly transitioned into swinging, which was also very short-lived. And then she one day told me that she only wanted monogamy. I was completely fine with that. We both had lived thoroughly, and I had never been previously possessive or even really cared. Passionate hugging has mostly been a carnal exchange for me in the past. However, as our relationship grew, I realized that this is going to be the mother of my children. She also became very possessive, and I can't even really have female friends anymore. There's an ongoing discussion and reassurance in our relationship that we only belong to each other. She jokingly, well, kind of at least, tells me that she'll cut my privates off if I ever share it with anyone but her. My approach to the adult video thing in the past has always been that she was honest about it, and as long as I didn't have to directly be confronted with it, I didn't really care. However, one of my good friends sent me a link the other day of you know what, and now I'm mortified. I can't stand the fact that other people can experience that side of her and that she's just on display like that. That which is only mine now. I don't judge her for it or anything, but I can't get it out of my head. I can't stop picturing it, and I brought it up and she got livid. She was so upset that I had the audacity to complain about it after having already known. I think she feels a lot of regret around the whole situation too. She's expressed anxiety about it because it happened when she was in somewhat of a manic state. And I feel for that, I do. But I still can't get past it, and now I feel like it's hard for me to talk about it, so I just suppress it. But low-key, it's kind of changing the way that I see her now. Not misogyny or anything, and I don't feel like she's lesser, but the culture of us belonging to each other, something we've both cultivated in our relationship, no longer feels true. I don't feel like she's truly only mine when she's on display like that. And it's very confusing for me because I've never cared about these things before. I don't want this to ruin us, but I also don't know how to get past it. Is this something we can move past, and how? OP, I think you need counseling. No offense. Like, I'm not trying to dog on you, OP, but you started off your entire relationship letting other people experience that side of her and sharing her like that. Like, you even said yourself, you guys were into swinging, you were in an open relationship. So, like, presumably you watched her and were a part of her, getting it on with another person. So, and you knew about this. You knew about this coming into the relationship. So, I don't know. It just feels weird that all of a sudden now you're so upset about it. And I think she's also got some other issues going on. Like, why did she also get suddenly super possessive of you out of nowhere? I don't know, OP. I think you both got some issues that you got to work out. But I'm kind of on her side a little bit, OP. You knew about this coming into the relationship, and you've already shared her multiple times with other people. But now that a friend knows about it, now it's a problem? I don't know, OP. Just seems kind of weird. Our next Reddit post comes from Throra Drag, titled, My husband just came out as straight. So, we've been married for like 3 years now and dated for about two. In total, 5 years of this gay relationship. We're two men and have always been two men, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. My husband and I have had a rather healthy relationship for the most part. Of course, we have had minor arguments every now and then, but what relationship is perfect? In the end, we always resolve them, and our affection would continue as normal. This is kind of why I'm really confused by what's going on with us now. Like, why now? I'm Christian, and I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that, but gay Christians do exist. My husband was agnostic, not necessarily an atheist, but just wasn't completely on board with any religion. And that's fine. I would have supported him in any peace he found, in literally anything. He didn't need to become a Christian, and honestly, as selfish as this sounds, I wish he didn't. I know this makes me sound like a terrible person, but he changed so drastically afterwards, and I miss the man that he used to be. It was a slow start. He asked me about Bible verses, and we went to church, and he even fasted for Lent. Christmas this year was much more than just presents, and I was happy that I had this piece of me to share with him now. I was raised religious and struggle with my identity. If it weren't for other queer Christians, I would have left Christianity. I was glad that I still had these things that we could bond over, but it kept ramping up. All of a sudden, he's going to church more than I am, which is perfectly fine, and now he is always carrying a Bible with him and will randomly cite a verse when we're having political discussions. I've noticed his views start to shift towards the right as well, and recently retweeted someone saying, quote, "Your body, my choice. You're a twink. Women's reproductive rights don't concern you in the slightest." And it kept ramping up from there. He started agreeing with the whole LGB minus the T crowd and started spewing harmful rhetoric about drag queens as if we aren't friends with a bunch of them. When I told him that drag queens are much less likely to harm children than some pastors, he lost his mind, saying that I was a heathen and that his friends were right. This is the part that caught my attention. What friends? I asked him what he meant by that, and he started backtracking, saying that he was tired and that we should go to bed. I was tired too, and arguing didn't seem like it would do us any good right now, so I put a pin in it and we got ready for bed. Our room has a bathroom connected, and we usually keep the door open. He takes a shower and makes sure to lock it, which was weird, but I didn't say anything about it. If he wants to set this boundary down, that's fine, but he could at least communicate it, you know? The next day was Sunday, and when I woke up, he was already out of bed, and I'm assuming at church. I get up and got ready, but once I arrived, I realized that he wasn't there. That confused me, so after the service, I called him asking where he was. He tells me he's in church, but I told him that I was here too and that I didn't see him. He clarifies he means this other church, and I'm not going to say the denomination because I don't want to cause any arguments, but it was a church nonetheless. This was news to me, especially because he never brought it up and still carried our Bible. I told him to send me the address and I'll pick him up so we can get brunch, but he tells me that he doesn't want his friends seeing me. That hurt. I asked him if we could at least meet up, and he said that he'll see me at home. After a few hours, he finally came home. He says that we need to talk, and I agreed. I wanted to ask him why he didn't want his friends seeing me, and as I opened my mouth to ask the question, he said, "I'm straight." I stared at him for a bit, and he continued, explaining that his church helped him realize that he wasn't going to see the kingdom of God if he continued living sin, and that he needed to leave me as soon as possible. He told them about the pastor comment that I made last night, and they said that I was the devil trying to lure him away from Christ. He started repeating a lot of the same rhetoric that I heard from other Christians growing up, and it really upset me. He even said that I could be saved and that I already had the traditional masculine look and that I just needed to steer away from the homosexuality. I feel like I'm in an alternate reality right now. I'm being told by the love of my life that I'm the devil that needs to return to Christ because I shut down his homophobic rhetoric. My gay husband is being homophobic. I'm sorry, but not once in 5 years we've been together did he realize that he was suddenly straight. It just doesn't work like that. It's not like we're in some other universe where comp homo is a thing, right? I told him that he needed to leave and that we could discuss arrangements afterwards. I still want him. I love him. But I have no idea how he could look at me with a straight face and tell me all of that. He started arguing, saying that he didn't want to leave and that we could be friends. So I told him that I wouldn't be friends with a self-hating queer for the life of me. He packed a bag and left. His location shows that he's at some random house that I've never been to, but I assume that's one of the churchgoers that he's now friends with. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do from here. Did I seriously just lose my husband? I don't understand how this can happen. What can I do now? I miss him already. OP, I'm almost lost for words reading that. I don't know what would make a person have such a drastic change in reality like that. It's like he's a completely different person now that he's found God, which, I mean, happens to people, but like to uproot who he is, like, and who he's been for his entire life is just crazy to me. I hope he finds some peace, OP, but it sounds like this might be dead in the water. I don't know. Maybe he's just going through something. Maybe he comes back from it, but that's just crazy. I'm almost at a loss for words, OP. That was Reddit After Hours, bringing you r/relationship advice. Thank you all so much for listening, and if you like these stories, like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below for any future Reddit subs that you'd like us to cover, as we post new Reddit videos almost every single day.